None of us imagined fires that would wipe out thousands of homes and kill so many people with a vengeance that looked like something you would only see in a make-believe movie script. Unfortunately, this script is real life, and the suffering and pain are as real as it gets. This is an epic nightmare that is breaking hearts and causing the strongest men and women to stagger under the losses they've sustained. I'm Chuck Marunde, real estate attorney retired and real estate broker. And what I want to share in this video is the answer to the question many of you are asking: how can I rebuild in the Palisades? I know we have several other areas with Eaton and so on, but I want to focus on the Palisades for now. To answer the question, how can I rebuild in the Palisades, we really need to back up to a couple of preliminary questions. During my 20 years as a real estate attorney, I learned that the answers you get in life are only as good as the questions you ask. This emphasizes the importance of asking the right questions. Because if you ask the wrong questions or get the questions out of order, you can end up going down the wrong path for years before realizing your mistake. So what are the preliminary questions that you must ask before you start telling everybody, we're going to rebuild? Yep, we're going to rebuild our home and start all over. Let's get down to the two most important preliminary questions you must ask before you even talk about how you're going to rebuild your home on your Palisades lot. The first question is, can you legally rebuild? And the second question is, if I can answer yes to that one, how long will it take to rebuild and move into my home? My purpose is not to discourage you from rebuilding in the Palisades. Not at all. Okay, so back to rebuilding. I applaud your good old-fashioned independent American spirit that looks right into the camera lens and imitating that slow, deep drawl that was so unique to John Wayne. We're gonna rebuild, and we'll do it come hell or high water. We can do it the easy way, the hard way. Which will it be? Sorry, I've seen too many John Wayne movies. Then we do have the John Wayne Marina here because he bought property here. And I understand he used to love to spend time on his boat here. His family still owns acreage above the marina, but they've never developed it. Anyway, the partial answer to the question is that there will be no easy way, only the hard way. Your determination to rebuild is admirable, but has it occurred to you that you may not be able to rebuild? You'll have to hire professionals to get through this nightmare, and one of the professionals you may have to hire, God forbid, is a real estate attorney. But he won't be the only person you hire. You'll have to hire cleanup contractors, engineers to do site analysis. You'll probably need a state-certified environmental specialist with a PhD after his name. The Douglas County Building Department will have you writing a merry-go-round of applications and requirements that must be fulfilled with reports attached to your building application. This won't be the first time you get dizzy in this whole process. Your attorney may recommend an independent company that specializes in complex site approval after fires and floods, where infrastructure also has been destroyed. You can't get a building permit by your home in the Palisades if the utility company hasn't rebuilt or repaired the infrastructure to satisfy the zoning requirements, environmental requirements, and the new and unique regulations that you will have to satisfy with new construction that now relate to the fire hazard for the Palisades, which is now going to be a much higher standard. If you've especially determined to rebuild in the Palisades, and I can imagine you saying something like, I get it. It's going to take a lot of paperwork and it will be a pain in the ass, but I'm willing to do it. Are you? Really? Perhaps you haven't asked the rest of the relevant questions. In Florida, where the hurricanes did so much damage, homeowners were being told by their insurance companies that they were required to replace composition shingles or wood shingles on their roof if the roof was 10 years old or older. What would normally have cost, let's say, $24,000 with a roofing company suddenly cost $84,000? It's called supply and demand, right? Now, back to your lot in the Palisades. Whatever it would have cost you before the fire to hire all the professionals you'll need will probably triple or quadruple now. If a site engineer would have charged you $25,000 before, now you can expect to pay, $125,000 maybe? Many of the professionals you'll have to hire will be booked out 2 and 3 years. And building contractors are going to be booked out probably 2 to 5 years. Realize all this is going to take time. And I don't mean months, I mean years. I would bet that many of the Palisades lots will not be approved for rebuilding, even after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for cleanup and site approval and building permits for many potential reasons. But one that jumps out at me is the higher standards for building in such a high-risk fire zone. Suppose the county requires a sufficient water source for fire hazards, and no sufficient water source is ever in place. End of story, right? No permits, no rebuilding. By the way, please do not be fooled by your politicians who make promises to you now about how they are here for you and will help you. Even if your governor wants to waive environmental rules and regulations to fast-track your building process, don't believe it. Governor Newsom is like the Greek god Eros, calling out to you to come down this path he's preparing, where he will help you and protect you and save you. Right. And how did he do that in the past? How well did he protect you? A lot more could be said about the hurdles you'll face rebuilding. And of course, I didn't even mention insurance. Let's not go there. No! But let's suppose you do go through the nightmare of running this marathon of a race that is full of hurdles you have to jump over. Surely it's going to take 2 to 5 years. If it can be done. I'm imagining a woman I saw in a video right after discovering her home was burned down, and she said, "We're going to rebuild." If she actually does get her home rebuilt, her next video showing us her home was rebuilt and that she's moving in, it's probably going to be no sooner than, 5 years from now, if ever? I'm going to step out on a limb here and suggest that rebuilding is most likely not your best option. If you're 70 years old, do you really want to spend the next 5 years dealing with the stress and anxiety of this entire process, not knowing whether you will actually be able to rebuild until your building permit application is approved, which is likely to be, 3 to 5 to 7 years from now? No one knows how long this is going to take. But if your current governor and mayor and fire department chief still have their jobs, you're not likely to ever get to rebuild. This isn't about politics either. This is about your life. And you need to ask yourself, I think, how many good years do you have left? If you're 70, you may only have 5 or 10 years left. Maybe more, I hope. But this late in life is not the time to decide to climb Mount Everest. By the way, I'm keenly aware of the importance of a community of friends in the Palisades, and that the sense of kinship with neighbors is precious, even if they are just acquaintances. With all I've said, it's especially sad that many of you will no longer be neighbors, and you won't be saying it hi to your neighbors as you walk around on the streets with your dog anymore. If you do rebuild, it is likely many of your neighbors will not, and so you may be sitting on your deck looking at empty brown lots all around you. Planting green vegetation may not be a good idea either, since lots will all be landscaped to be low fire risks. I will be glad to be wrong about this, but I'm going to suggest that only 2 or 3 out of 10 homeowners in the Palisades will rebuild their homes eventually. I would say go take a walk with your dog in Palisades Park and meditate on all of this, but I'm not even sure the park is there now. The reality is this: you're screwed. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you are royally screwed. I feel bad that I have to share this kind of nightmare scenario with you, and especially after what you've just been through. I'm not a cold person, and I'm not a narcissist either. So it's not been fun for me to say these things and deliver this kind of message to all of you who've lost your homes in the Palisades. I wish I could say, as a real estate attorney and real estate broker, that you can rebuild and be back in your home in 12 months. But that's not even remotely true. Not even possible. My heart truly goes out to you, and so do my prayers. If you're listening to this video, I'm thankful you survived, and I'm thankful for those of you whose homes miraculously were saved, including someone I consider a friend, James Wood. Thank God, James, your home was saved. I was so overjoyed to see that photo. Here's my humble suggestion, folks, for what it's worth. Seriously consider buying an existing home somewhere else. I know it's almost hurtful to hear that, but realistically, if you're not in your 20s or 30s anymore, you would save yourself a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety and money and time to find your ideal location and buy a home there so you can move into it right away. I didn't create this video to sell you on retaining me as your buyer's agent, but if you want to look at one of the safest areas in the entire country, take a look at Sequim, Washington. You can just go to my YouTube channel titled Living in Sequim, and I'll include a link below this description. Most of my buyers for the past 15 years have been escaping Californians, so I feel a connection, and I've had a connection for a long time with California home buyers who retire to the Sequim area. You'll see we have virtually no natural disasters here, except the possibility of an earthquake. And we have no temperature extremes on the cold or hot side. And our annual precipitation is only 16 inches a year, 1/3 of Seattle's, and about the same as Los Angeles was about a decade ago. Although now I think LA gets about, 11 to 14 inches of rain annually, if you're lucky. Check out my video titled 10 Reasons to Retire in Sequim. And the other video is titled 10 Reasons Not to Retire in Sequim. You can buy a gorgeous home in the Sequim, Washington area on the beautiful Olympic Peninsula for $1 million cash. That same home would probably be $6 million to $10 million in the Palisades. Granted, you won't have the same gorgeous ocean view, but we are on a peninsula, so we do have water views and beachfront properties. You can search my MLS at irealtyvirtualbrokers.com, but here's the biggest reason most of you in the Palisades probably won't choose the Northwest. You've been living in the sunshine for 30 years, and that's going to be hard to find anywhere else. We do have what they call the blue hole or the rain shadow in Sequim. We're famous for that. But it's not sunny all the time like it is in the Palisades. Where else would your ideal location be? That's a tough one for sure. I don't have a good answer for you if you're addicted to California. But if you'd like to chat or ask me anything about the Olympic Peninsula, please feel free to call me on my cell phone, which is 360-775-5424. God bless for now, and I hope the best for you and your family in the coming months. And if you want to have a little fun, if we can just have a few seconds of lightheartedness after this serious subject, if you go to irealtyvirtualbrokers.com, and I'll include that link below on the search button, by the way, go down to the most expensive homes in WA, Washington. Most expensive homes in Washington. Click on that, and you'll get this screen. And then scroll down. Now, we're going to do a little shopping here for my friend Mel Gibson. And I want to show you, Mel, what I think would be perfect for you. I'm just going to scroll down a little further. And by the way, I guess it goes without saying, but I'm sorry you lost your home, Mel. So nice. Let's click on this one here. Open this image. Here's a beautiful home, Mel. I'm going to just open up that first image there. That would be just perfect for you, Mel. Hey, listen, I updated my iPhone, my Apple iPhone to a 16, and I transferred all my contacts, and I lost your phone number, Mel. So if you want to give me a call and look at this home, my number is 360-775-5424. We'll go out and take a look at a couple of these homes, and I think you could have a lot of fun owning it. And by the way, if you want to buy one of these like this one here, don't worry about somebody being there, taking care of it, maintaining it. I'd be glad to live in it for you. Okay, enough of the lighthearted humor at the end here. I hope you found this video helpful in some way. It's a very serious subject, and I'm just concerned that a lot of you in the Palisades are hoping to rebuild, and I don't think many of you are going to be able to do that. It's a nightmare. I spent my life in real estate law, and it's going to be a nightmare. So I'm sorry to tell you that. You can always call me and chit-chat with me if you want to. I'm not practicing lawyer down there, so don't call me for legal advice, but I can help you on the processes and decisions that you're going to make now, whether it's to move and buy another home or to try and settle in there and work through that whole scenario. Well, God bless, and I hope to see you in the next video.